Hey, welcome to Ask a Gender Therapist. This is a video series where I answer your transgender questions from the point of view of a gender therapist. My name is Dara Hoffman Fox, and I work as a licensed professional counselor in Colorado. Well, welcome back. My eyes might look unhappy or puffy or sleepy. I don't know if any of you struggle with seasonal allergies, but August is the worst for me. So don't worry, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling spry and ready to help you with your transgender questions. Well, last video I made, it was called Discovering Your True Gender Identity and Not Letting Fear Stop You. And I promised at the end of that video, I would then make a follow-up video to talk more about what should you do next once you do figure out if you are transgender. And so once I started thinking about that, I realized that this will probably end up being more than one video. In fact, so far I've come up with 4 ideas for videos. The first one, which is this one, is going to be coming out to your coming out to your family and friends. The next one, in no particular order, would be coming out at work or at school. Then there is the challenges of being transgender in our society today. And then there finally is physical transition. And so, like I said, today we're going to start with coming out to family and friends. So I'm going to suggest you grab something to write with, a pen or paper or your iPhone or whatever it is you take notes on, because we're going to be going over a lot. So go ahead and go get your thing that you're going to write with. Great, thanks. That took you a while. Just kidding. All right, so what you're going to do first is I want to have you think about what I call relationship truths. And I'm going to, as best as you can, ask you to memorize these relationship truths. So let me go ahead and tell you what these are, because this is your best place to start. The reason I want you to think about these relationship truths is because it'll help you feel less like you have to do this perfect, or that there's some right way you have to do this. So go ahead and give these a listen and see what you think. The first relationship truth I want to tell you about is that every individual and their experience is different. The second one is every relationship is different. And the third one is every individual and relationship evolves and changes over time. So that's the reason why there's not going to be just one answer for every person out there about how you should come out, because there's going to be a lot of different types of relationships that you have with a lot of different types of people. So those are the relationship truths that I want you to start with. The next thing I want you to think about is I want you to take an honest look at your relationship with the person that you're getting ready to come out to. And the good thing about this is that you can do this with every person that you're going to come out to. You can do it one person at a time. So that's why you can have your paper where you write down each person, and you're going to take an honest look at that particular relationship. Now let me go ahead and give you 3 ideas about what you can think about when you're thinking about this relationship. Now remember the relationship truths. Every individual is different, every relationship is different, and every relationship evolves over time. Okay, so first of all, what type of relationship do you have with this person? Is it close, or is it not so close? Or is it somewhere in the middle? Second, how much do you value this relationship in your life? You value it very much, or not so much, or somewhere in the middle? Third, what are you willing to do to preserve this relationship? A lot, or not much, or somewhere in the middle? So, for instance, close, somebody you feel close to, somebody that you very much value the relationship, and somebody that you would be willing to do a lot for. In this case, to preserve the relationship, this might be a spouse. This might be, if you're a teenager, this might be one of your parents. It could be one of your siblings. This relationship could be even with maybe one of your grandparents. It could be with your kids, and etc. and so forth. And so examples of relationships where you might not feel so close, you might not value the relationship all that much, and you might not be willing to do all that much to preserve the relationship. Honestly, it could be any of those people I just mentioned, and for some reason you just don't have that close of a relationship with them. It could be your mom, your grandma, your spouse, one of your kids. It could be somebody where you've always had a really strained relationship with them, and you have found it to be very difficult to relate to them no matter what. This might be somebody where when it comes to telling them that you're transgender, that it might turn out that they're kind of lower on your priority list in terms of how much time and effort you want to put into what the after effects are of coming out to them. Okay, great. Now you have the 3 relationship truths, and then you've thought about the relationship that you have with the person that you're going to come out to, and you've thought about what type of relationship you have with them, how much you value that relationship, and what you're willing to do to preserve that relationship. Now, here's the thing, is that each of those questions is going to help you determine how much communication, patience, and time you're going to be willing to put into this. By communication, I mean it's not even going to be just that one conversation you have with them when you come out to them. We're talking about how much you're willing to be vulnerable and open. Would you be willing to go to counseling with this person to be able to work through it? How much will you be willing to be honest with that person? How much will you be willing to sit and talk for hours about this sometimes? Or that's what communication means. Patience would be how much patience are you willing to have with this person? They may go through a grieving process. They are going to have to take some time to learn more, maybe, about what it means to be transgender. And for you specifically, what it means. They're going to have to take time to understand. And so there's going to be a lot of room for patience there. And so you have to kind of figure out how much are you willing to give depending on how much you value that relationship. And time, meaning, of course, how much time are you willing to give, certain things, such as getting used to this in general, getting used to new pronouns and names. It could take a great deal of time for a lot of this to really sink in for the person. And how much are you willing to put up with it, I guess, and sit there with that person and allow them to go through the process they need to go through while you're going through your process as well. So, okay, so next, how do you go about telling your loved one that you are transgender? Well, there's a lot of different options nowadays. Back in the day, you either had your choice of probably sitting in person with that person you're thinking about and telling them. You could call them on the telephone and talk to them about it that way. Or you could write them a handwritten letter and give it to them, or mail it to them, or read it to them while they're sitting in front of you. Those are all still very legitimate options for you to take. It really depends on your past experience with this person. What are the best ways that you have communicated with one another? And go ahead and use that as one of your strengths. But of course, don't forget that there's other options now that we're in the 21st century. You can always write an email so that it gets to somebody quickly. You can write an email that could go to several different people, that you can send it all at once, where everybody can see that you've written it to many people at the same time, or you can copy and paste it and send it. You can create a Facebook post and announce it that way. Very sort of in a very broad and general way. I definitely have had some clients do that. Sometimes some people do that after they've already told a few of their most closest relationship people, and then sort of said, okay, let's just see how many of my Facebook friends still want to stay in touch with me after this. I had one client who had a cool idea, who said she's going to record a video of herself. And she's going to, this is a video she's going to send just specifically to her mother, for instance. It's not something she's going to put on YouTube. Although that is something that some of you might also be okay with doing, and then you send out the link and have people watch it. Or you can make it, like I said, a specific video for one specific person and send it to them. So that also means you could come out to somebody through Skype or FaceTime. Let's see. So you also need to think about, if you're going to do this in person with somebody, would you like to have somebody with you for support? Is this a friend? Is this another family member who already knows about this? Think about whether or not that would be of help to you when you do this. And lastly, again, think about if this is something you're going to tell more than one person at once. Like I said, there might be some people you really do need to do this one-on-one with, and you want them to be the ones who know at the earliest. And then as you kind of keep moving along, you might have a more broad or general announcement that you make to other family members or to other friends. So this might sound a little overwhelming, which is why I suggested that you get out a pen and paper or do it on your computer or your phone and start making a list of everybody that you know you want to come out to, and answer those questions about what is your relationship with this person? How much are you willing to put into this, and when it comes to the communication, the patience, and the time? What method do you want to use to come out to that person? And so go ahead and make that list, and then you can kind of break it up, and you can even make it like a timeline. You know, of course, it can maybe shift and change. Some people write it on postcards or note cards, and that way you can kind of shuffle it around. I'm actually inspired to create a worksheet to help you out with this. I haven't made it yet. So here we are almost at September 2014. So I'm hoping by, let's say, October 2014, I'll have a worksheet for you. So if you go to my website after September 2014, which is darahoffmanfox.com, just go to the search bar and you can type in probably coming out worksheet, and that should be able to bring that up for you. So I look forward to creating that. One thing I want to mention that I heard on a YouTube video recently is by a guy named Decker Moss. He's a trans man. His video was called "Hey Doc, Some Boys Are Born Girls." And he was talking about how he has an identical twin sister. And because when he came out as transgender, he realized that his twin sister was going to lose her identity as an identical twin sister. She now had, I guess it would be a fraternal twin brother. And so when your identity changes, when you realize that you are transgender, then don't forget that the person you are talking to, more than likely their identity is going to change somewhat as well. Whether this is your spouse or your parent or a friend, they're going to have to go through their own identity shift. And some people more than others, depending on how much they're involved in your life. So let me go ahead and touch on a few additional resources before I let you go. So this week on my website, I just put a post that is awesome. It is called Gender Transition, The Leap of Brave Beginnings, and 8 Ways How You Can Help. This is by a guest blogger named Carissa Grace, and she is the author of a blog called Carissa's Grace Notes. So she wrote this blog post, and it's 8 ways that the person who is listening can help. So you are transgender, you are coming out to somebody, they need to read this blog post. I also created a PDF file that you can easily download and send to them, or that if they want to go get it, they can download and read. And so it's probably about 6 or 7 pages, and it goes through all the steps that Carissa describes in her blog post. But it's an easy to read PDF form. So that's already ready to go at darahoffmanfox.com/gender transition how you can help, and put a hyphen in between each of those words after the slash. Excuse me. So that's it for this episode. I'm working hard on creating more content for you. And if you have emailed me with a question for Ask a Gender Therapist and you haven't heard from me back yet, don't worry. I've got a lot of questions to get to, and eventually I will get to yours. So do remember that I'm not going to be able to write back with any real personalized advice, because if you're not my client, I'm not really allowed to do that. But I will give you some general information and tips, and I will direct you to resources. And also, I'll definitely save your question to use in one of these videos one day. So in the meantime, I do want to advise that you go to my website and sign up for my email newsletter. It's at darahoffmanfox.com/newsletter. And if you sign up for that, I promise I won't bug you very often. About every 2 weeks, I'll send out a newsletter and just let you know what blog posts I've created, what YouTube videos, what other posts people have contributed to on my blog as well. And so I'd love to have you as a part of that list. So thanks again for watching, and I look forward to creating the rest of the how-to videos about what to do after you realize that you are transgender. What are your next steps? So I'll be talking to you again soon. Thanks.